And there we go. All right, everybody, let's let those notifications go on out. That's right, that's right, that's right. Okay, let those notifications go on out. Okay, yes. All right, and remember, we are, yes, doing our own thing here. We did a little sound check and stuff, but yep, God had a message, and one of our fellow warriors needed to hear this. And I understand that it's difficult. Okay, y'all, you're not alone. Okay, when you find yourself in one of those toxic, narcissistic workplaces, I know. Remember something that dealing with these toxic coworkers, it we do need a break, and yeah, that's okay. All right, but while we are waiting for those notifications to go on out, we are going to do the usual sound check. I thank everybody for understanding. We are going to. There we go. All right. And so I have the YouTube chat. I'll monitor here. I will check every now and again in the chat and the software, okay, to see if anybody is chatting from Consulting for Heightened Awareness on Facebook. So let's get the formalities out of the way, shall we? All right, I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Motivational Monday Show. That's right, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, and Facebook at Consulting for Heightened Awareness and Michelle Dickey. As far as I know, on my personal profile, Michelle Dickey, on Facebook, the live chat, but you can always leave comments on the replay. So I will get to any question always, and I want to say thank you to everyone for your patience. If I do not see a comment, okay, and let's say you left the comment, this has happened. You left the comment more than 5 days ago, hang tight. I'm going to get caught up. Just listen. When God has us in a season of doing a little extra self-care, we get very focused because we don't want to lose sight of the progress that we're making and what God is revealing to us. Okay? Never forget that. And so I have not been checking the YouTube Studio Analytics as often. Usually I would check them about once a week anyway. I haven't even been doing that because of the extra self-care. So thank you all for understanding as well. And yes, I know, to a fellow warrior who inspired today's topic, because we get it. We get it. That God says we have to learn the lesson, right? To not quit a job before we have something else lined up. And now, in my case, my website was already launched when God delivered me from that last toxic workplace. And he told me, get busy. And I said, okay, but what about, he said, get busy. I said, okay, but he said, get busy with the website. Okay? And so that's what we've been doing, is staying with it. He said, you've launched your business. Get busy. But not everybody's circumstances are like that. Okay? Because at the time, in the other environment, that's right. And then I had lessons to learn too. And so I want to share with you all, okay, that this is spinach, celery, zucchini, broccoli, carrots. And I'm trying to think, a little bit of no salt added tomato juice. And I think a hint of garlic. No garlic. Right, spinach, zucchini, carrots, celery, broccoli, little tomato. There's one more veggie in here. I know there is. There has to be. I don't recall what it is at this point, but it doesn't look all that great, but It is. All natural. No salt added, no nothing. Cook the veggies down, soften them, add some drinking water, use the blender. All right, everybody. Dealing with toxic coworkers. We've got that course. You're going to learn more about that when we come up on a short break. Because that is your key for making it through the season that you must make it through. And I don't care about, listen, God and I are watching the clock, y'all. Okay? We do not care. Because we know the enemy needs these truths out there too, because without God's spiritual truths out here, he's not going to know whether his tactics are working. See, here's the thing. When I'm bringing y'all tried and true techniques that work, and a lot of it is definitely, it's a mental and spiritual activity, seriously. Because when we're dealing with them, I did it to myself once before too. And I don't want to see y'all do this. This is why I'm up here with this message today. Is to don't, because the metaphor, don't shoot yourself in the foot, okay? Metaphorically, because that's what the enemy likes to see people do. Because he doesn't want to see people succeed. He doesn't want to see people happy. He doesn't want to see people living life. He doesn't want to see that. He wants to keep everybody in that low-vibing narcissistic matrix. We get it. We get it. And so, many of us, when we were younger, oh, sure, we did that. When we were still in high school and stuff, trying to figure it out, right? And we still lived at home. And even might have had a parent tell us, don't quit before you find another job. You got something else lined up. And many of us did it a few times. But now as grown adults with more responsibility, we don't want to do that. The enemy wants you to do that. Because not only would that put you behind on some things, but that would also take you away from a growing community that is helping you. God says, don't do that. There are ways to deal with them. There's ways to deal with narcissistic coworkers to get through. And I know many of you learn, as you will learn in the course, how to deal with toxic coworkers, that we learn to be quiet more around them. Oh, they cannot stand that. I'm telling y'all right now, that drives them even more insane. Because we zip it. And we keep that conversation work-related as much as possible. I'm going to share you all? Yeah, here. I'm going to share with you all something that happened real well. Okay, this is what we see when we are observing more and speaking less. I'm doing laundry, right? And so, and the complex has on-site laundry. Value. So, I'm getting ready to put my clothes in the washer. I walked into it. It was a toddler in an adult body. Absolutely. They're sitting, talking on the phone, but with the persona of, okay, grown, mature adult, right? Putting on that. Talking on the phone. Right, exactly, like a mature adult. And then, boy, talk about shape-shifting. This is just one of many ways they do it. And so I'm not even really paying attention. I'm focused on putting my clothes in the wash and getting them sorted out. My bed sheet, shake it out, get around, right? I'm just minding my own business. And she comes up to the washer. I guess it was her. I don't know. I wasn't paying no attention to what she was doing, except the fact that her tone of voice, right, when she started to speak, it was a very toddler-like voice, completely different from what I witnessed when I walked in, with the tone and talking as if she's a grown adult, and then come over here and said something to the effect of, after I get done doing this, I'm going to be exhausted, right? No. The enemy was trying to plant a subliminal message in my subconscious to try and trick me into thinking that I was going to be so tired after doing that one load of laundry. I was like, nope. But yeah, that's how they are. And so when you start to spot that stuff, okay, how they shapeshift like that, like role play. But the reason, right, because they view everyone else as a child. So now they're taking on a childlike toddler voice, talking to me as though I'm a toddler. That's exactly what she was doing. How did I handle that? Oh, I just smiled politely and didn't say anything, and got my business. Came on back in here, let them clothes wash. I'll pull out the stuff to start making lunch. But that's the kind of stuff that they pull. And there was another person, another guy, politely smiled back and forth, exchange, didn't really say anything. And then out of the blue, he goes to put his clothes in the dryer as I'm putting mine in the dryer. And you just start rambling. And I was like, whoa. I could not comprehend what the heck he was talking about. That's right, his demon spirit got rattled. And yeah, I was like, well then, because yeah, word salad. Just to be talking and very nervous like. Again, politely smiled, didn't say anything. Put my clothes in the dryer, did my thing, got it going. Come on back in here. Start cooking lunch. Pull my car. Come on now, y'all. That's what I'm saying. When they start behaving like that. Now, I know if it's in the workplace, it's not like you can just go home. Right? I get that. But I'm just letting y'all know that it isn't just in the workplace. Okay? This is why we have to learn how to deal with them in any environment. And that course helps you learn how to do that. I just demonstrated some of the tried and true technique that you learn about in the course, how to deal with toxic coworkers out here in public at the laundry room. Right? It's time for a short break. Stay tuned to learn more about why you don't want to quit before you got something else lined up, and how to deal with these narcissists out here all around us when we come back. Are you noticing toxic coworkers, aka narcissists? The course, How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers at CHA Academy is for you. You will learn 5 tried and true techniques for how to deal with toxic narcissists in any environment, at work, home, or in public. The course, How to Deal with Toxic Coworkers, is also a great addition to any employee training package for employers. Once equipped with these tools for dealing with toxic coworkers, you can fine-tune and tweak each step for dealing with narcissists in any environment. And if you need help with that, just reach out and the Godhead and I will help you. I look forward to seeing you at CHA Academy, where iron sharpens iron with fellow spiritual warriors for Christ. Sending love and light always. All right. Welcome back. All right, thank you for understanding, but it was just the perfect timing for that ad for you all, because what we end up doing is stressing ourselves out. And so I have shared this elsewhere, but I got to bring it here because you're not alone. I understand, because I did it to myself too, and I ended up in the ER because of it. There was a Jezebel manager that was the closing manager at that toxic pizza place I was at. And I just really did not want to work with her that night. I was just really, it just was on my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, I do not want to work with her. Because it would get to that point where it was just too much. Yeah, it would get to be too much. And so what I ended up doing is I was eating some gluten-free flaxseed crackers that had some salt on them. And I was just pigging out because, and stressing myself out to the point where I ended up having to call in anyway. And I ended up at the ER because exactly all that salt, too much, and stress. I was not able to keep anything down at that point. So I don't want to see y'all do that to yourself. Okay? Because that's what happened. And it's unfortunate, but I know a lot of y'all can relate, because we stress ourselves out about the toxic coworkers, and that's what it does. It gets us all hyped up. It gets us, and I understand, it's because you just really don't want to. So what that tells us is, if you find yourself at that point, because it makes you, it's like, even I was like, man, I can't wait till I can quit this one. But I knew I had to have something else lined up first. Little did I know it was going to be another toxic workplace, but, okay. What I did, because of that incident, I turned that into a positive. So this is for somebody. This is what I did. And you can figure it out for yourself. But I knew after that incident, I said, I'm not going through that again. I'm not going to allow myself to go through that again. That was crazy. No, I did not have a pity party. I was just like, okay, fine. They gave me some stuff to calm the stomach down, and it just took about 24 hours, and I was able to start eating again, and things will stay down. So it wasn't very long. It was very temporary, but still, I was like, man, I'm not psyching myself out like that again. That's what I told myself. I was like, no, we're not doing that again. We're not going to go through that again. So I said, okay, you know what? Yeah. I looked up temporary placement agency, and I thought to myself, I know some people who went through there and they found themselves decent jobs. So I found one. I made the appointment. I went and I spoke with the person in charge of finding employment for us, for people. I'm not exactly sure what their title is. And so I took the typing test and all of that, answered the question, things like that. And so in another city, though, from where I went, because that one was located in a city I was familiar with, where I went to undergrad. And so that's why I chose that particular location, because I knew the area and I wanted it to move along because I wanted out of that pizza place. And so it just, it was not a few weeks later that I got the call to be a receptionist at a horticulture business, if you will. And I said, okay. And so the placement agency sent my resume to them. Now, I did not go in to that interview thinking that this will be another toxic workplace, because I, before, had never held a 9-to-5 ever in my life until then. And so I was really happy for the opportunity, because I thought I've always wanted a 9-to-5. I never had one before, so this was great. Oh, I found out real quick now. Not for me. I know it's for some of y'all, but for some of us, it's not. We just don't know that yet. But it was a good opportunity because I had never done it before. So I was looking at the bright side of things. And so I go in for the interview, and they seemed like nice ladies. I was exactly. And kind of got into a little bit of what I do with mentoring survivors of abuse, what I do, and that I'm in school. Yeah. I was still doing, now all of my residencies are complete now, but at that time, I believe I still had at least 2 more residencies at that time. Because we're talking about 2020. That's right. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That big lie on the world stage, whatever. And so I knew about that then, because I had already gone down the rabbit hole by then. So it didn't take me long, though. The second day on that job, I spotted a flying monkey mumbling incoherently to himself. And I went, uh-oh. That means there's a narc master somewhere. Oh, boy. And I will tell you what got me through the toxic pizza place is I turned every single narc I identified into a case study. And I'm going to bring y'all those results. Yes, as soon as God has us put that together. We don't name names, don't have to do that. So I ended up having to do the exact same thing at this place. And I let the temp agency know, as soon as you have something else available, can you let me know? I told them, within the first month and a half, I told the temp agency, I do not want permanent placement there. I knew. Okay? And so they knew, and I asked them to see if there's something else. And so every now and again, I check in with them when I go pick up my check. I was like, is there anything else available yet? I just kept asking them. And so that wasn't going over so well. But that's the thing, is that there's nothing wrong with going to a temp agency, you all. Seriously. Nothing wrong with it. If you know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to go right into another toxic workplace. But the tip I have for you on that is, if you go that route, even if you don't go that route and you line yourself up with something else, okay? Be extremely mindful of what you share. Take the first tip from that course, how to deal with toxic coworkers. Take the first step and keep your personal and work life separate going forward, because we all made the mistake at one point or more of mixing the two. And so this is why we learn not to do that. Same concept of keeping the spiritual and the physical separate, right? So we can properly discern. That's why we keep our personal life out of the workplace, so that we can properly discern what we're dealing with. So that's what I ended up doing. And so after publishing my first 2 books while there in that toxic workplace, I was still just on Quora. Okay, God had me hidden for a little while. God does that, chosen one. Okay, He'll have us hidden for a little while. But what He needed me to learn, okay, is how they mirrored our empathy. So we learned that. Okay. Excuse me for a second. I don't know what. Okay. Google added items that can run in the background. Okay, I'm going to have to remember to check that out, find out what those are. Anyhow, there's nothing wrong with using a temporary agency. Okay, so don't, yeah, I know some people would be like, no. That's what they're there for. And not only that, they may know of jobs that are not really advertising. Never forget the importance of that. There are some employers that don't put it on display that they're hiring. They'll go discreetly through a temp agency. Yes, all right, they are out there. Not every company put their listing on a job board. Okay, so that's the other advantage of finding a temporary placement agency. Yes, all right, they'll know of stuff that you won't find in the newspapers or anywhere else. Okay, so there's that tip. But when you get to the new workplace, take the lessons that you have learned with you. Remember, until you know what you're dealing with, because I made a little boo-boo, okay? Yes, I did. I made a little boo-boo at that second toxic workplace. But I quickly stopped giving them anything else. Because when I let them know that I was on the blood type diet, that low in sodium, they started tampering with my water and my food, adding salt. Because my body could tell. My body's like, that shouldn't be doing that. Right? That shouldn't be. And then they made the mistake of putting too much salt in my water. And I was like, whoa, okay. That was like drinking from the ocean. Because it wasn't a few minutes later that Jezebel, who did it, when I had to go upstairs for something, and she was running back and forth frantically, right? Finding some gluten-free food that she picked up. And trying to love bomb with food. Like, no thanks. That's how they tell on themselves. But they knew that they just screwed up. So, yeah, we didn't give them anything else about that. That's all they had. That's all the ammunition that they had. And then they knew I was in school, but obviously because for residency, I had to take time off. So they needed to know that. All about that discernment, right? But we did not quit the toxic pizza place before we had that one lined up. And so what happened while I was at that position, okay, is that's when God had me learning the admin side of Shopify. But that's our website hosting site. That's right. And so for a good 3 weeks, like at the end of April of 2021, God had me start every evening that I got home or to that house. Every evening, I got on there and I was working on that design for that website. What picture? I asked God, what do we call it? God said, consulting for heightened awareness. Only makes sense. The brand. Maybe think of the book of John for whatever reason. We'll get to it in our Bible study. Yep, the book of John for my brand. Breaking the trauma bond to the world. Because we are all about pulling down strongholds in the spiritual battle, right? Yes. All about breaking trauma bond. And what helps us do that? Absolutely. Yep. What helps us do that is by learning how that trauma bond is formed. It's time for another short break. Stay tuned to learn more about why we don't quit a job before we have something else lined up and the spiritual battle for the mind when we come back. Are you still getting trauma bonded to narcissists? Do you want to learn how the trauma bond is formed? The course, How the Trauma Bond is Formed at CHA Academy is for you. We hear about how the trauma bond is like a drug addiction, but what does that mean? With a background in forensic toxicology, I answer that question in How the Trauma Bond is Formed at CHAAcademyBTBW.com. Once you know the trauma bonding process is simply a manipulation of the brain chemistry to keep people emotionally dysregulated, you will never allow another love bomb to manipulate your dopamine again, and in turn never get trauma bonded to another narcissist. The link to the course is also listed in the video description. I look forward to seeing you at CHA Academy, where iron sharpens iron, with fellow spiritual warriors for Christ. Sending love and light always. All right. Welcome back. Okay, yes. All right, everybody. Thank you for understanding that we've got to do the, we got to do what we got to do. Okay, to let y'all know, seriously, you're not going to know. Now you understand now you'll understand where, you're not going to know what we've got. If we don't tell you, right? Okay, because everything that we have for you, that's right, all the tried and true techniques, that's right, absolutely. Because we also have to remember something, that many of us were not fortunate enough to find a workplace that was not toxic. Yes, even my work study position in undergrad was a little bit toxic. We had a very clingy, micromanaging boss who claimed that she was not a micromanager. But clearly the action said otherwise. Because I remember asking my work study coworker, who, as far as I know, was not toxic, okay? I remember asking her, what's with that? Assigning a couple of tasks. Okay, we're working on that. And then coming and bringing us 5 more before we even done with those 2. I'm like, what's up with that? And that is, right, that's how the enemy operates, to try to overwhelm people. And I remember asking the coworker that, and she just looked at me and she said, some people just don't know they're that way. I went, that's interesting. Now we can understand what she meant by that. Jude 1:4. There will be many crept in unawares. Okay? Many crept in unawares don't even know that they are demonically possessed. And that's why they act the way they act. Like toddlers in adult body. And then why their actions don't match words. And so even though it was just slightly toxic, I still consider that my favorite job of all time in the workplace, was on campus. Yeah. A lot of skill sets that I got to learn. That's what it's all about, y'all. Yeah, the skill set. The knowledge needed to prepare me for future degrees. They did a lot of preparation in undergrad for the dissertation, where we're at now in the proposal stage at Walden University. And so thank y'all for your patience. But yes, we are. We have, we're updated, and we are just patiently awaiting for the next step. And God already told me It is already approved. Glory be to God. And so we're going to move forward. Now, there's no other way to move. We're going to go forward. And so they let me in that last toxic workplace. What helped me get through was I asked them, because I was like sitting here going, okay, this place is not very busy. This is the phone does not ring all day long. There's only so many things to update plant-wise. And I was like, I could be doing some homework. Yeah. Because I believe, let's see. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think if I was still, I don't want to tell y'all wrong, so I'm just going to leave it generic. I'm not sure if I still had coursework that I was working on. I feel like there was still at least 1 or 2 courses I was working on, because I still had a couple of residencies left. I did not finish my 4th and final residency until I was in this dissertation phase only. So I know I had the pre-dissertation, the prospectus, and that might have been the stage I was at. It doesn't matter now, but I'm just giving y'all some background here as to maybe some things that you can do to help you get through while you look to line something else up to get out of that toxic workplace. And we pray that you don't get into another one. But again, until you know for a fact that it's not, that's right, we learned the lesson of not opening our mouth about anything personal. Oh, they're going to ask. If they listen, that's your red flag right there. If you start the new job and they start asking you a bunch of personal questions, like about your personal life, right off the bat, why do they want to know that? Why? Why do you think? Because they're trying to see if they can't find some ammunition to abuse you with later. So be mindful of that red flag. That's the thing. Chosen one, we don't go doing that. We don't go around asking people personal business stuff, especially when we first meet them. We get to know them for a little bit first, and then we're like, hey, so, because if we're talking about a specific aspect of our life, and then someone has a question like our fellow warrior does often, like when I talk about my walks, like, well, about how far do you walk? Do you use a step counter or something like that? There's nothing wrong with that. That's not personal. I already told you I walk. Right? Speed walk, power walk. So just know the difference. But if you get to the new workplace and they do start asking personal questions, are you married? Are you dating someone? That's none of their business. Well, for tax purposes, okay. But that's it. That's it. And we observe, watch, because they will test to see if you have boundaries too. You let it be known. Yes, you want to let it be known that you have boundaries. And the one that we all learn has to be a boundary is that we don't get personal with coworkers. And then watch what they do. If they try to keep inviting you to non-work related events to hang out with them, they're trying to bust through that boundary. How do you handle that? What? Simply with a polite, no thank you. You can say that. And you do not have to give them an explanation. You do not have to go and say, no thank you, I've got other things to do. You don't even need to say that. Just no thank you and leave it at that. They don't need to know why. They know why. Because you're enforcing your boundary. That's right. If they try again, same thing. No thank you. Come up to me and they say they got these tickets to go to some, I don't know, event. Would I like a ticket and join them? No thank you. Seriously. So once we've identified that they are all narcissists in the workforce, then that's right. So okay. So you have toxic coworkers, Patrick, is that right? That are bullying you and mocking you? That the tip I have, like I said in the beginning, there's nothing wrong with going to if you have them in your jurisdiction, is to find a temporary placement agency to help you find work elsewhere. But you don't want to quit without having something else lined up. We learned this as an adult. The enemy, the devil, loves to see people do that. Oh, yeah. Love to see people do that. Hello. All right, I'm just checking. Okay, I got one from Facebook. Yes, Mystery Shine Jewel. I see you. Thank you for popping in. And so that is a big thing where I suggest that highly. And they're different placement agencies. Well, how about gosh almighty, what do they call them? What do they call them? Recruiters. I don't recommend the job boards because we learn later on that those job boards, like Indeed and stuff like that, they post a bunch of fake jobs just to make it look like there's a bunch. Okay, don't fall for that. Go on ground, okay, in person. Now, if they tell you that you have to apply to the company online, that's different, but they'll give you that information and you'll go right to the company site. But if you go scrolling through like Indeed and I don't know, Monster, if it's even still around, what have you, many of us found out that that's just a big hype. There's a lot of jobs being advertised on those sites that are not even real jobs. They're just to make it appear. Remember, the enemy is all about appearances, right? Wants to make everything appear bigger than it really is. And so we learned this. And I had a fellow, soldier, if you will, warrior, who it was on Quora, and somebody asked, why it was so difficult to find a job at a particular time, and the guy answered, and I was like, oh yeah, because they have to put off the appearance as though they are hiring when they're not hiring. Makes sense, because that's all part of the game of narcissism on the world stage. And so the guy said that he actually went in. He went into a place that had a sign out front that said they were now hiring. He went in and asked them for an application just to see. And he was told that, they're not really hiring right now. They just had to put the sign out there. I was like, well then, yeah. Surprise. Okay, everybody? And so if you want to learn more about those couple of toxic workplaces that I was at, you will find those toxic workplaces, those stories in Real Events of Narcissistic Abuse, someone's survival guide. All right, the rest of the story. And then some additional things. And case study of the ex-psycho roommate. Oh my gosh, that's bizarre. A lot of y'all, when you read that one, those of you who have, you know what I'm talking about. You will read it, you'll be like, oh, wow. That's like the most bizarre thing that you can ever imagine. But it's time for another short break. So stay tuned so we can wrap up, okay? More about how to deal with these toxic coworkers and why it's important to not quit before having something else lined up when we come back.
Are you interested in learning how this ministry and work at Consulting for Heightened Awareness, CHA, came into fruition? The best way to learn how CHA came about is in my book, Real Events of Narcissistic Abuse, Someone's Survival Guide, available in PDF, audio, and paperback at CDHRWDRMD.org. You can also find my book across multiple ebook platforms and at Amazon. The audiobook is only available on my website at CDHRWDRMD.org. You will not only learn about red flags of narcissism, you will also take a walk with me on my journey into God's reality, where we begin to develop the spiritual discernment we need to fight this spiritual battle for the mind. CHA is a growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ, sending love and light always.
All right. Welcome back. All right, everybody. Thank you for understanding that, the Motivational Monday show and then the CHA show that is in season 1 right now are structured this way. There's, and the CHA show, season 1, and then we're going to take a break. Yeah, just like other stuff. But now the Motivational Monday show, it's here to stay, just like the Let's Just Chat show that we do on the YouTube channel. All right, and then the Bible study on Saturday, or as far as I know, God willing, y'all, seriously, God willing, this is where we're going to be. Okay? And we will be streaming to additional platforms when we are able to. I'm not sure what the deal is with that as far as I don't know, like to TikTok and Instagram, so we're just waiting patiently for us to be able to use StreamYard over there too. And I know that is a homemade, all-natural vegetable juice that I am drinking, for those who are wondering. And so, if you are dealing with that kind of behavior, being bullied and laughed at, made fun of, just know that that is a reflection of them and not you, chosen one. Okay? That is a reflection of them. And we have to learn that we stop looking at them as humans. We don't look at them as objects. No. This is my tip for you all. We don't look at them as objects either, because that's what they do to us. We can see that they've got flesh and blood. All right, but that's not what we're battling. Remind yourself, here's your tip. Remind yourself, if you find yourself in that situation, in a toxic workplace with toxic coworkers, you want to remind yourself that there is nothing wrong with you. They're just trying to make you think there is. And that they are just showing you how childish they really are. And that they are demonically possessed biological beings and don't know it. Remember, the reason they're doing that to you, chosen one, is because you're light. The anointing that's on you, it rattles. They're demon spirits, right? Exactly. So we have to learn to do the mental and spiritual activities and remind ourselves. Remember, during the trauma healing and spiritual growth, tons of self-reminders. And so once you get it in there, you're like, okay, you know what? That's the reflection of them, not you. There is nothing wrong with you. You are wonderfully and fearfully made in God's perfect image. They know that. Right? And that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of the day that you discover all that potential that's on the inside of you from God. Because the day that you do, you're going to rise above that pettiness. You're already above that pettiness anyway, because you're not engaging in it. So, best way that we can overcome allowing the bullying and the mocking and being made fun of, all that, to get to us, shut off that empathy switch. Because when they start behaving like that, that just lets us know that they're on Team Devil. And so instinctively, we're like, we don't want anything to do with them anyway. Because remember something about narcissists is that when they see something is working, like it's getting under your skin or it is bothering you, because they can sense that through the spiritual energy. If they can sense that something is bothering you or getting to you, getting under your skin, annoying you, irritating you, or making you feel bad, they can sense that. And so they do more of it. That's why they do more of it. This is why we learn to shut off that empathy so they cannot get an emotional read on us. When they can't get an emotional read on us, yes, they don't know how to act at all. They don't know how to act in front of children ones anyway, but especially when we learn to stop allowing them to read our emotional energy, spiritual energy. They can't read us. Oh no. Because when they try, they get it wrong every time anyway. And so they're just trying to get an emotional read. They want to see what kind of emotional ammunition they can use. And if they sense that you're feeling down, they're going to do more of the thing to keep you down. That's how the enemy kicks people while they're down. And so I want you to tell yourself, I am healthy. I am successful. I am made in God's perfect image. Tell yourself, there is nothing wrong with me. They're doing what they're doing because of everything that's right with me. There you go. Write it down. Tell yourself positive stuff. They're doing what they're doing because of everything that is right with you. Let that sink in. Okay? There's nothing wrong with you. Chosen one? No. They continue to act that way because of everything that is right. And they can see the anointing. The demon spirit can see that we're not one of them. That we don't have spiritual wickedness in high places like that. And so, learning how to thwart those fiery darts when they do that in the workplace, I'm going to share this final thought with y'all. At the time, that second toxic workplace, right? Well, at the time, 24-year-old, there were steps. For those who haven't heard this yet, you will. I've mentioned this particular behavior before, but it fits. Because what I did is there are wooden steps that lead up to an upstairs office. And so my area happened to be right next to it, the desk. And I had one of these stand-ups, right, with my PC because my so-called immediate supervisor said that I could bring my schoolwork, sure, and work on it. No problem, in between, you know. So he gave me that permission. And so I was doing that. And out of my peripheral, that little spoiled brat, and I mean, he whined about everything. Complain, right? I could see he was so spoiled. That's right, he was. And what he would do is deliberately stomp as heavy as he could up those steps, right? He was trying to annoy me. I'm just sitting here minding my business. And one day I just turned and looked at him with the mommy look. That stopped him in his track. And he walked normally up the stairs ever since. Because it was not annoying me. He could tell that. That's why I looked at him the way I did. With the mommy look. Because he could then see that I could see right through what he was trying to do. And that it was not working. It was not irritating me. It was not annoying me. He knew that I knew. I didn't have to say a word. Okay, you all? And so, yes, he did. He brought down some wipes and tried to see if he could exert some control over me and asked if I would take and cloth wipe all the doorknob when he could very well do it himself. Nope, I did not. Nope. I kept minding my own business. What I was doing with the receptionist position had me doing. But they were trying to get me to do more than what the position required. I didn't let them. So be mindful of that too. If they try to pile extra work on, do your research. For whatever new position you may be obtaining, do your research on what the actual duties are. There's your final tip. Okay, do your research. Again, for that position and learn what the actual duties are for that position. So that when you go in to that new workplace, you will be prepared if they try to pile on extra stuff that is not part of the job description. Because they want to try to overwhelm you. All right, everybody? That's it for this one. All right, but don't quit before having something else lined up. Yes, including your own business to launch. That counts as having something else lined up. Okay? So there you go. Any questions? Don't hesitate to reach out. Catch this on the replay. I will get to those as soon as possible. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Motivational Monday show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, and Facebook at Consulting for Heightened Awareness and Michelle Dickey. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father. And you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.